Hi everyone, I'm Cheryl and welcome to the Sewing Room channel. I'm going to demonstrate how to make this large backpack. Now it doesn't have any pockets on the inside, but later in the video I'll tell you where you can go to learn how to put pockets on the inside of your bag. But there is a pocket on the outside front. Okay, let's get started. I just want to mention that all of your supplies are listed below the YouTube screen in the description section. So just scroll down to that description section, expand it open by clicking on Show More or the down arrow, and then you'll see all of the supplies that you need. I'm going to start with a pocket. Your pocket, you need 2 pieces of fabric cut the same size, and I've cut mine 6.5 by 9.5. On one of the pieces on the back side, you're going to fuse your interfacing on. Just follow package instructions. It's a very simple process. Then once you've got that done, then you want to bring front sides together of your 2 pieces of fabric. So you're looking at the back side of the fabric. In 2 corners only, you're going to use something round and have it about 1/4 inch away from your 2 raw edges and trace around it, and then go over here and do the same thing. Then pin all of your edges together, and then at one end you're going to leave an opening right in here. It doesn't need to be too big, maybe 3 inches. And I've placed 1 pin here and 2 pins here, because this is where you want to stop stitching. So start over here, back stitch a little bit, stitch down to the corner, always leave your needle down through your fabric when you get to a corner, lift your presser foot, turn your fabric, and continue stitching. And then when you get down to your corners, you're actually stitching on the little curved edges here. You come back here and then you back stitch. At your other 2 square corners, you're going to trim the fabric off to about 1/8 inch wide. So cut across there, a little here, and a little bit on this side. On your 2 curved edges, you want to just do little clips. Make sure you don't cut through your stitch line. And you're doing this on both of your curved corners. Now go to your opening and begin turning it front side out. Now reach inside your opening to push your 2 squared corners and your rounded corners. So just push on those seams. Then you're going to fold your edges in at the opening and press all of the surface on this. Then pin this close, and you're going to stitch real close to the edge all the way around. So stitch all the way around, close to the edge. On the pocket, you're going to stitch it together exactly as you did the flap. Nothing is different except that it is larger. So make sure you put your interfacing on, round 2 of the corners, leave an opening, stitch 1/4 inch seam, turn it front side out, poke all your corners out, press it, and then top stitch around the edges really close to those edges. To finish the pocket off, take the edge that's curved and you're going to fold it over 3 inches and press it with your iron so that there's a nice crease there. Open it up, take your squared off edge and bring it up to just below that folded crease right there, and press this edge down here. Then you're going to take your Velcro and place it about 1/2 inch from the top edge, and you're using a 2.5 inch wide strip, and then fold it over so you can see where it needs to come here on this piece. So then open it up, and I like to stitch around it twice. So go around it twice there and also here. We're now going to work on the main portion of the bag. When you're cutting your fabric, your selvage edges are folded together. That's the way it is when you purchase it off the bolt. Leave it folded and cut this edge straight. Go over 18 inches and make your first cut, and then go over 2 inches to cut your straps, and you're cutting 4 of them. Then you're going to take them and cut the selvage edges off. Do not cut your folded edge at all. I stress that. Don't cut your folded edges. So make sure you remove all of your selvage edges. Here are the 2 pieces of fabric that I'm using for the bag. This is my outside fabric, and this is my lining. Remember, you can use the same color on all of your pieces, same fabric. It doesn't necessarily have to be different. But on the fabric for the outside, you want to put your interfacing on and fuse it. But remember, your interfacing is cut shorter than your main fabric. So you want to have 2 inches at each end in which there is no interfacing. If you should put the interfacing on down there, you're going to run into trouble later. So make sure you don't put it on the 2 bottom edges 2 inches away from your raw edges. Now bring the front sides of your fabric together and pin around all of your edges. You're going to leave an opening at one end that's large enough to get your hand in, and that's going to make it easier to turn this front side out later on. So you'll start stitching here, and over here where I have my 2 pins, that's where you're going to stop. So always back stitch on each side of an opening. Then you're going to stitch a 1/4 inch seam. So back stitch, stitch down to your first corner, and then continue stitching all the way around all 4 sides, and then stop right here and back stitch. Now trim all 4 corners just like you did on the previous 2 pieces we worked on. So just go around, cut a little bit off, make sure you don't cut too close to your stitches. Now go through your opening and turn it front side out. So when you're done turning it front side out, then of course you want to push against all your corners and poke them out. Pin your opening closed, press all of your edges, and then stitch close to the edge, like 1/8 of an inch away, all the way around. So this is done just like you did on your previous 2 pieces. At each end, you're going to fold your edge over 2 inches, and then press it all the way across, and then you're going to do the same thing at your other end, fold it over 2 inches and press it. Leave your 2 ends folded over, then fold it in half, lining up these 2 edges. So here's my top where the 2 edges are folded over, and here's the bottom. So you're going to take your pocket and place the bottom of the pocket. You're going to center it in here, and you're going to place it about 3 inches from the bottom, and open up your pocket. Go ahead and pin it around, let me get this in there, it's kind of thick. So you're going to pin it right along here. Then you're going to stitch close to the edge, and you're going to back stitch up here quite a few times because this is a stress area. So stitch down this way, across the bottom, and I would back stitch around these corners, across, and then back up and back stitch a few times there. Before you stitch the pocket on, make sure you unfold your fabric so that you only stitch through one thickness of the main portion of the bag. Here's how you're going to fold your fabric for your loops and your straps. So your 2 loops, you want to fold the fabric in half and press, and then unfold it like that. Then fold your 2 sides in towards that center fold, and then press, and then fold it in half and press. And then you're going to stitch close to the edge right along here. So when you're done with your loops, they should look like this, and you're cutting your loops 3 inches long. Before you fold and press your straps, you want to take 2 of the strips. Remember, they're 2 inches wide by about 42 inches long. You've just cut the selvage edges off. You're going to take 2 of them and stitch the ends together with a 1/4 inch wide seam. Then go ahead and fold and press just like you did on your little loops, and then of course stitch close to the edge all the way down. So when you're done, you're going to have 2 long straps. When you're stitching along the edge here, you want to stop about 3 inches from each end. Leave that open. We'll close that up later. Take your main portion of the bag and bring front sides together. And leave these still flapped over like this. We'll stitch them down in a moment. So line up your 2 side edges. And we're going to be stitching the side edges together. But before you do that, you want to take your 2 loops and you're going to insert it into the side seams. So fold it in half like this, and then down at the bottom near the folded edge right here, you're going to take the folded part of the loop and insert it inside and line it up down there at the bottom. You probably want to use a clip to hold it in place because it's really thick down there. And then of course go to the other side, fold it in half. Remember, take the inside, this folded edge right here, and insert it down near the bottom. And then of course clip. It's going to be a little difficult to pin. Then after you've done that, pin your 2 sides together, and you're going to stop about, maybe a 1/2 inch to 1 inch below where it's folded over right here. Then you're going to stitch close to the edge, right on top, all the way down. And make sure you backstitch at each end of your seam. I want to correct something that I said a moment ago. I said to stitch close to the edge on your side seams, stitch 1/4 inch wide on your side seams. Take your 2 straps and place your first one up against this folded edge right here. So open this up. Place one end, maybe 6 inches or so, outside this way. And then line it up against that folded edge. So you're going to have a lot of your strap hanging out over here. And then take your other strap and have just a little bit coming out over on this edge, and then the rest of it hanging out on the other side. And so just lay them on top of each other, because it's going to make it easier to do the next step if you do that. So have them laying on top of each other, then fold your flap over and move this bottom edge, the other side, underneath. Go ahead and place either clips, let me get one here, or pin along here. Then once you have that done, then you're going to stitch along this edge of the fabric that's folded over. So you're going to stitch all the way across. Turn it over to the other side and open this section up. Take the strap, the long piece that's over here, and lay it across up against that folded edge, and try to keep it from twisting. And then take your other long piece over here on this side and fold it over on top and bring it across like that. Then fold this over. Oops, second there. Fold it over and either pin or clip. It's much easier to clip because this is pretty thick. And do that all the way across, and then stitch close to this edge right along here. Turn the bag front side out, and when you get it turned front side out, you want to go to the bottom edge where those little loops are and pull on them like that. So you pull them out and go over to the other side and do the same thing. Take the longest strip that's on each side and insert it through your loop at the bottom and pull it all the way through. And do the same thing on the other side. Take the long end and the short end and make sure they're not stitched along those sides. So you want to unfold them on both pieces. Bring the two ends together, bringing front sides together, okay? Stitch a 1/4 inch wide seam. Then fold these back up and finish stitching along the folded edges. Now we have just one more step to do, and that is we're going to put the flap that goes up over the top. So turn it over to the other side of the bag. And there we go. Take your pocket, or your flap I should say, and you're going to bring it below the, you know where this is stitched, where your casing is? So you want to go below your casing about 1 inch and center it. And then you're going to stitch it down right across here. Now make sure that you take the other side of the bag and pull it out of the way so that you don't stitch the two sides together. I've got my Velcro up here on the flap stitched on. So you want it on the inside portion, the part that doesn't see. And again, you place it about 1/2 inch from this edge right here and stitch around the edge of the Velcro twice. Then to position your other piece of Velcro, fold this over, and you want to leave it loose up here. And the reason why is once you pull on your straps and gather it up, you want to make sure once it's all gathered that you have enough room for this to fit over. So I'm going to pull this open and fold it over, leaving about 1 inch or so folded, and so that I can figure out where to put my other piece of Velcro. I'm going to place it right there, and then I'm going to stitch around it twice. Again, make sure you have the back side of the bag, the other side, folded out of the way so that you don't stitch through both sides of the bag. Well, here it is. It's all done. Now, this is something you could make in a day, maybe for some of you who haven't sewn all that much. It probably could take you the weekend, but it's really a very basic bag. Just take your time with it. Now, this is a large one. Let me show you a small one. This is a mini backpack. Now, I've added buttons to this one. This is stitched together just a little differently, but also on the inside, I have a pocket in there. So if you want to know how to attach a pocket to any bag that you make, I have a separate tutorial on that, on how to put pockets on the inside of any bag. Also, I'll have the link to this little mini backpack, which I just love. It's probably my favorite. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and that you learned something new. Remember to check below your YouTube screen for the video links that I have referenced in this tutorial. Scroll down to the description section, click on the down arrow or show more. It'll open up and you'll see all of the links. Now make sure you follow me on Instagram and check out my Facebook page. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time, and happy sewing. If you like the Sewing Room channel, one of the best ways to show your support is to subscribe by clicking on that red subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. And don't forget to click on share to share this video with your friends. And make sure you click on the bell so you receive notifications for all my new videos. I'm Cheryl, this is Manny, and this is Scotty. See you next time.